Are we live?
Give it just a few minutes. I mean, a few seconds. Because it's still showing nothing on my end.
I know. But sometimes there's a delay where it'll start showing, but it'll show what we're saying. Okay, here it goes. See, it's showing everything we already did. All right, y'all. Hello, welcome to the Crystal Heart channel and to the Mystery Mugs and Melanin channel. My name is Crystal, and this is
Oh, Celine.
and it is time for tonight's true crime talk. Is that what we call it?
Maybe
Um,
true crime talk. Yeah.
I'm trying to see if anyone is in here.
Sheila.
I see a couple of people. Are you able to see the comments? Because I'm just realizing I'm not seeing comments.
I
Oh,
see
now I
Sheila.
see.
Sheila said, hey.
Okay. Hey, Sheila. Okay. What does overlay mean?
Oh, comments right there.
Oh, that's cool.
So on the
It's
live?
not on. It's not on the TV. It's not on the live, but I think it'll reappear on the replay. Oh, I don't know. I'm waiting for it. Hey,
It is. It's on
Shelby.
the live.
Okay, do you want to leave it like that or you want to take it off?
It's cool. We could try it.
Let me see if there. What are the layout options? Come on. Okay, if things get weird, I'm gonna put it back. So sorry, y'all. Oh, look, I made you all tiny. What about this? Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna give it. Is there's a delay from when? So I'm trying to see what it looks like on the screen before.
I can see it on the screen now.
Okay, I think this is better than us being like little slivers. What do you
Yeah,
think?
it's cool. I don't mind it.
Tell me what's your preference.
This is cool. I don't mind
Okay.
it.
Okay. Okay. Cool. All right, y'all. If y'all are here, say hello. And also say what channel you're on. If you're on our Mystery Mugs and Melanin channel, or if you are on the Crystal Heart channel, or if you have two devices and you're on both because you're supportive like that. There is also a little delay with the messages.
Yeah, there's a
Okay,
little
yeah,
delay
there.
with the message and the video because I'm watching myself drink on TV right now.
I know you're still drinking. Okay. I had to get another new cup. I get a new cup almost every week because I always leave my cup somewhere.
I remember when you left like one of your cups at my house.
Yeah, I left one. Y'all, Saint is really he having a hard time today. He keeps hearing something. But I left one in Houston with Rebecca whenever I left Houston. All right. Let me go back to so I can see. Sheila, you're on both. Shelby, you're on Crystal Heart. Okay, and also if you're not subscribed to the Mystery Muslim Millionaire channel and you like these lives, then you need to subscribe because we're gonna be moving this to the Mystery Muslim Millionaire channel um eventually. I don't know how long before we'll do it, but eventually. And then
Next month.
hey Leanna, how are you? It was so nice meeting you in person. So Pastry Queens Farm Adventures, Celine is Leanna. I'm sure you've heard us say Leanna a million times. But I met her at the quilt festival this weekend for the first time this past weekend. I met her in person.
I know I saw y'all live.
Oh, I didn't know you saw it.
I
You
saw
said we did too many lives.
it a little bit, yeah, yes, a lot, and then it would be like such and such is live, and I would go to it, and it was not live anymore.
Oh,
But I watched some. Yeah, I watched when I could.
okay.
Celine, is your video live? What do you mean?
She's live right now. Okay. So I've been crazy busy as usual. So I don't know if I watched everything I was supposed to watch.
You never
Because
do your homework.
I'm not good at homework. I never did my homework in school. I would just show up and take the tests. Exhausted still. We had lots of fun. Yes. We had a lot of fun. I'm still exhausted too, Leanna. Maybe because I haven't slowed down yet. Okay. Sorry, I got my snacky dacky.
I need some
So,
snackies.
what is on the docket tonight?
Not the docket.
You know, I
Okay,
like to say the docket. I like to feel official.
so last week we named 4 docs. Um, we had we had kind of rated them like, and then so the first one is Into the Fire, The Lost Daughter. That was on Netflix, the true crime doc. And then How to Create a Sex Scandal. That one was on Max. It was a docu-series. And then I Am Vanessa Guillen on Netflix. And then the Nightstalker documentary also on Netflix.
So, The Lost Daughter, I had already watched, but you know, my memory is horrible, so it's going to have to come to me as we're talking about it. Um, How to Create a Sex Scandal, I watched today. Excited to talk about that one. I Am Vanessa again. I did not watch. I know this. I know the case. Not. I don't know the details. I know of the case, should I say? But I
Leanna,
didn't
we
watch it.
tried to match. This is just mental. We just sat down and got on camera, and I said, "Why are we matching again?"
And then what was the last one?
Night Stalker.
Oh, Night Stalker. I watched that a while ago, a while
When
back.
it first came out, we watched it. It was like, "Oh, this is so good."
Yeah, I watched all but the Vanessa one too. Shelby.
Well,
Okay.
we can, if we want, we can talk about Vanessa Guillen next week.
Yeah, because I do want to see the documentary. So let's put Vanessa. Did we already push Vanessa to this week? We won't have to push her for next week again.
We didn't push her. This is the first time. I just brought it up last week.
Oh, okay, okay. And then yeah, because I want to watch the documentary before we get to talking. Y'all, Shane is trying to get to my snacky dacky.
Okay, let's talk about Into the Fire, The Lost Daughter.
Okay. Talk.
So, me, me. Okay, so I just wrote some notes and stuff, so I just want to get my notes up really quick. Notes up really quick. Okay, so this was actually a surprisingly good docu-series. I really enjoyed it because it was just, hi Vanessa.
Hey, Vanessa.
It was just crazy. So basically, I haven't watched any, but but actually I'm heading to bed. I'm wiped out, so trying to get better. Feel better, Leanne.
Yes, yes. Go get your rest, girl.
So no, I'm on both channels. I was already stuck, and I got a notification too. Thank you. Okay, so the lady's name is Kathy, and she placed her daughter. She had her daughter young. She placed her daughter up for adoption, and then she found out that her daughter had gone missing. when she was 14 or 15, something like that. And so she didn't raise her daughter, or she didn't know anything about the adoptive parents, but she just felt like she had to figure out what happened to her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when they found out that when she found out her daughter was missing, they had found a body.
Was it the DNA?
They had found a body, but then they did DNA and it turned out it wasn't her daughter.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right.
So yeah, she had her daughter when she was like 16. Her mom convinced her to give her daughter up for adoption. And I think it was like 2010 when the adoption agency said, hey, your daughter went missing 21 years ago in 1989. Why it took that long after the disappearance was because they had found a body and they wanted to use DNA to see who it was. So the adoption agency contacted her about her daughter. 21 years later, okay? The DNA was not a match, but Kathy decided she still needed to know what happened to her birth daughter. And then so she did some research and she figured out that her daughter had been renamed. I don't remember what she named her daughter to begin with, but I think she had been renamed Audria or Andrea, something like that. I have to look it up. I want to say her name right. Andrea
Andrea.
Bowman. And she started like talking to people and doing research to know, what happened to her daughter. She even started talking to like this amateur detective named Carl. And so she ended up finding out that the people who adopted her daughter, like they made it seem like it was just like a loving home and they adopted their daughter, and then they ended up having their own child later, like before she disappeared. So Kathy had it in her mind, like knowing the case, knowing the details, what they said happened. I thought the body was found 10 years after she went missing. I don't know when the body was found, but they contacted her 21 years after her daughter went missing to do DNA on that body.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out why the comments aren't moving anymore.
They are. Sheila just sent one.
No, on the screen.
What do you
You see what
mean?
I'm saying?
No.
Next to us, how the comments are there,
Mm-hmm.
they're not updating.
They are.
Oh,
Sheila just sent a message.
I know. On the screen, like what they see, not what we see.
I,
Or is it delayed?
it. Somebody sent a message.
No, I can see what Sheila sent. Okay, now it just updated. Maybe it's just delayed that much.
Okay. So, um, trying to remember where. Okay, where were we?
Oh, Leanna says she sees it all. Okay, I'm sorry. I interrupted your flow.
It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. Um. Oh yeah. So it was just a whole bunch of mess, right? Yeah. The internet guy helped a lot. I think he was like an accountant and an amateur detective, which is crazy. Um. So turns out that her adoptive parents said that she went to school and everything, and then they went, I forgot where they went. They went somewhere, and the dad came back and he walked in on her packing her stuff, and she even stole money from their dresser and said that she was leaving, and she left, and they never heard from her again. That's a story that like he told the police and everybody and things like that. Um, yeah, he was an accountant who had he was actually doing better than the police. He had a spreadsheet with all the missing people and people who were found, and he was really into it. And I do think that
Mhm.
without his help, she wouldn't have gotten to the truth um,
Yeah.
as quickly
She
as
was
she did.
she was persistent though.
She was persistent. Sorry, y'all. Give me just a second.
I'm just munching. I'm hungry.
I'm actually kind of hungry too. That's
These
what it was.
popcorn.
She was doing homework, and the dad took the mom to work. And
Mm-hmm.
when she came back, she was, so say she just left, and they drove around looking for her and all this, and people had even spotted. So uh, apparently, you know, people had spotted her on the street, and there were reports of seeing her. So they just thought she ran away.
That happens a lot when people go missing though. There's always sightings.
There's Yeah, there is always sightings, but
False
um
sightings.
false sightings. I mean, like, but the people, not the people, the police need to, like,
Investigate every lead.
okay, so go ahead.
Nothing, go ahead.
Okay, she even started a Facebook saying find Audrey Bowman. She started getting like a whole bunch of messages from people that Andrea had went to school with, and her friends and stuff. And one person that reached out to her was a survivor of a kidnapping when she was a child. That's true
Oh
too.
yeah. They
Yeah.
even had an arrest warrant out for her.
Yeah, because he said that she stole the money from the dresser. So, like, not only was she a runaway, but she also stole money. So they were
That's
looking
so
to her.
crazy.
So she so I think the lady's name was Meta, and she reached out to Kathy because she was like, she believed that Dennis, who is the stepfather, Meta, that's not her name. I still have in my notes, Meta.
Sheila looked like she knew it all.
It's called Into the Fire, The Lost Daughter.
On
So
Netflix.
Meta reached out to her and said that she believed that Dennis, who is the stepfather, looked like the same guy who kidnapped her when she was a child. Though
Mm-hmm.
they never figured out who kidnapped her, and they told a story about it. She was, approached by this man in a truck, and supposedly to give her a ride, and oh, she's delayed. So when I said
Yeah, so that's why she said that.
okay, and
That's daddy. Chill.
what's wrong?
My co-host is out of here. Joseph is just getting in, so
Thank you. So, yeah, I think it's Metta, and it's Meta, which is I think a cool name. I know it's like the Facebook thing, Meta, but I think it's a cool name. But she had her story was horrible, and he picked her up in his truck, and he drove her to like this wooded area, and he assaulted her, and she was young. I think she was like 6, 8. I can't remember specifically. She was very young, a young child. And I think there were people that it's a miracle that she was alive to tell this story. She's an amazing survivor, actually. So it turns out that home life wasn't all great for Andrea, and um, she she connected with people, like I said, who went to high school with her daughter and people who knew her, growing up, and they claimed that Dennis, the dad, would hit her. One person, one of her friends, described being over for dinner one night, and the parents were eating hamburgers, and Andrea and her friend were given just like some sandwiches with just ketchup and mustard, I think, ketchup, mustard, relish, or something like that. That's it. And then, uh, and then, um, when Andrea told her friend that that was all she was allowed to eat, the dad came over and he hit her. He hit Andrea, and the friend said it was like so hard she fell out of her chair. So, like, home life was not great for her at all, like how they depicted it to be. So, are you good? Oh, she's still talking. Okay. She's talking to
Yeah, I
her husband.
apologize. Joseph just walked in.
You're
I'm
good.
gonna unmute him. Okay.
You're good. So, Kathy just kept, like, she never gave up. She just kept going, doing what she could do to keep, like, the case of her daughter in, like, the mind of the police. Like, we have to, like, she just kept going. Like, she's amazing too. So before they were even able to solve the murder, the mystery of what happened with Andrea, there was another cold case that ended up having to be solved. Oh, but I want to jump back to first. Let me jump back to say that when Andrea left, when she supposedly left her parents' home, like ran away with the money, um, not shortly after that, they moved homes into this other, like, home with this large backyard. And Kathy would drive there a lot and go there all the time, and she was convinced that her daughter was in that backyard. And no one really believed her because they were like, they weren't even in that house at the time, and this and that. And there was like a pile, like, she just knew her daughter was there. She said it on the documentary. She knew her daughter was there. You could kind of see that everybody was kind of like, well, you know. But anyway, so this detective, his name was John Smith, and he was supposed to be investigating cold cases in Norfolk, Virginia. And he opened this case of a sexual assault in 1980, and it was this woman named Kathleen Doyle, and she was a Navy wife. So there's a huge Navy base there, and her husband was a Navy pilot, I think, and he must have been out to sea or deployed, and she was home alone. Well, first she had a friend over, and then she was home alone. And basically, they kept such good, like, preservation of the evidence in this case. And there was a bedspread that had DNA on it, and they ended up tying Dennis to this rape. It is the largest naval base. We actually used to live in Virginia Beach, which is close there. When I was married, my spouse was in the Navy, stationed at Norfolk. So we lived in Virginia Beach, kind of just outside of the city part. But anyway, um, so they ended up tying Dennis, and I think it was like the detective went to, like, this conference, and it just so happened that one of the detectives from where Dennis lived was also at the conference, and they were talking about the case, and they just I don't know, it just was meant to be. I feel like, Spark was there, and then it led to Dennis. And then so after investigating Dennis's history, they learned that he did 2 weeks with the Navy in Norfolk, like he was there. So they went to visit him. They had a cup that he was drinking out of. They matched it to the DNA off the bedspread. It matched, and so he was arrested in 2019, and he went ahead and confessed. And he made it seem like oh, you live in York County? I didn't know that. Yeah, Hampton Roads. And he confessed. And then so like he was like he wanted to meet with his wife, and they showed footage of like the meeting with his wife. Her name is Brenda in the series. Um and he ended up telling her that their daughter was dead. She's been dead from the start. And the wife was just like, "What?" The wife, ugh, ugh. I'm sorry.
She didn't cry. I felt like she cried. She didn't cry.
She might have cried, but I just felt like it was whatever. He told her that he got into an argument with her, and she tried to run away. She was going to tell the police that he molested her, and he hit her. And he says he hit her, and she fell backwards down the stairs. And so she fell backwards down the stairs. So he cut her legs off, stuffed her in a barrel, and he put the barrel out with the neighbor's trash. That's what he said. But he changed the story multiple times, because at one point he told her that like he wrapped her in a nice sheet with a cross, and he buried her in a graveyard and all kind of things.
Now, I don't know if I'm remembering right, but okay, tell me if I'm making this up. But wouldn't his wife still call him when he was in jail, and he
Yeah,
kept like trying to make the story seem like romanticize
better
it and make
and
it seem
better.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
okay,
They were
yeah,
still talking and writing letters, and he wrote her a letter. And he in letters he kept changing his story. But on one of the phone calls with her, he told her that Andrea is actually buried in the backyard. And that's when the police, they send a bulldozer, and the barrel was there. The remains were found in a trash can of diapers and like a peppermint patty candy wrapper that had the date 1989. And she was there where her mom said she was all that time.
yeah.
Her bio mom. It was interesting how
Hmm.
the officer from Norfolk ran into the state trooper in Michigan at a convention. Yeah, that's what I was saying. They had met at like a convention or something, and it just was like they just started talking about it, and it just was like, hey, you should look into this guy. And it was so very interesting. Yeah. Wait, who's Math Geek again?
Shelby.
Yeah, Shelby. That's what I'm saying. The mom was just for me, because she just seemed to be like okay with it. Like, okay, I'm sad, but I forgive
No, let me find out. Adopted daughter, real daughter, somebody else's daughter. Let me find out. My husband did some stuff like that. There is no forgiving.
because he denied killing her for a really long time.
Yeah.
And like the director of the show, he said that, like, I did a little bit more research afterwards, and he said that he's not sure that Dennis ever really told the true story of what happened, because he changed his story so many times. There's been so many different things, like, because like I told you, he said, oh, I buried her in a graveyard in some remote part of town. I did this and I did that, and he just lies. And
Hmm.
they also said that yeah, there was a list of potential DNA matches from a genetic genealogy search. And you know how that comes up so much in cold cases now,
Hmm.
genealogy. But yeah, so but the director said that he thinks that Dennis only confessed because he was told he could serve his life sentences in Michigan
Yeah.
and not in Virginia and be closer to his wife and their child.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, even his story about Norfolk was all over the place because he was like, he denied it like at first, and then it became just like, yeah, well, and she, and it was like just not a big deal for him.
That's crazy. Word to the school that she was being molested.
No one believed this girl, but it did help that some of, I think it was Brenda's family, some of Brenda's family had concerns as well, and they were like, y'all should look at Dennis. So it ends with Kathy finally reuniting with her daughter by being given half of her ashes. Because she was cremated.
And but she was like, she felt disrespected by that.
She was because she had been trying to tell Brenda, like she even showed up at like a survivors
Yeah.
thing, like for people who lost children. And she Kathy showed up too, and Brenda was there, and she was like, your husband did this, and Brenda
Yeah.
was just
Brenda was an odd something. But I feel like after he confessed
that.
and it all came out, the biker was
Oh
almost
yeah, I
abducted by
forgot about
police.
that.
He had already been in jail.
It was a young woman.
What? I feel like after all of that, she should have presented her with all of the ashes and apologized for taking her daughter and not giving her a safe space.
I forgot about that. He had served time before
Yeah.
for his ways, but I don't know. Yeah, it was
I
a
feel
really,
like
if you haven't, I feel like I didn't explain it great because
watch it.
watch it, it's so powerful and you're just sitting there like, oh my gosh, I
And
can't.
there's so many coincidences that I guess were just like divine intervention type stuff.
Yeah, like the detective and the one from Michigan, the trooper from Michigan just so happened to meet at that convention.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's
Brenda
interesting.
definitely was I don't know. She definitely had her own issues. But if listening to what like the friends said, she was okay with how they treated, like she partaked in how badly they treated their daughter Andrea.
Hmm.
So yeah, he was a danger to women, but they still let him out.
But that happens so frequently.
I don't know. I don't know about, if do y'all think Brenda really knew nothing? I don't know.
Hi, Patty.
Hi Patty. We're talking about Into the Fire, the Lost Daughter docu series on Netflix. I believe that Brenda knew what her husband was capable of, but didn't possibly didn't think that he would do that to their daughter. So I don't know.
Some women just want a man so bad. And it's like, girl, you can be you can are you that weak? Are you that weak of a woman?
It's like the woman that we talked about last week with Mr.
Mr. Allen.
with Mr. Allen with their mom. Like
It's like
she
you
knew.
know they nasty, dirty men, and you're still gonna just pretend it's not happening just so they won't leave you. I'll add it to my list to watch. Sounds like heartbreaking. Yeah, Patty, watch it. It's very interesting. All right, what's next? What's next?
How to create a sex scandal.
I just watched that today, so I'm fresh. My brain is fresh on it.
You want to start?
No, girl, that's your job. You the professional on this.
Okay, so y'all,
I would just chime in.
I was watching this. I just was in bed. I wasn't feeling well. I haven't been feeling well. And so I was like, I'm just gonna catch up on some TV and see if I can find a new doc to watch. And it kept coming up like, recommended for you. And I kept skipping over it because I'm like, what is this? What is this? But I decided to watch it. And girl,
Girl,
I'm so happy that I did. So
how it started is not how it ends.
it starts with like this woman who seems like super nice, and she was this foster mom who had like a billion foster kids. Not really, but still, she had like a
She had
lot of,
15, I think.
what was it?
Well, a couple of were her biological
She has some
children.
of her own kids.
So like I think like 12.
Okay. And so they were from California, and then her and her husband decided to move to Texas, and they moved to this small little Texas town. What was the name of the town?
I don't even remember.
Min- Mineola.
Mineola.
Mineola, Texas.
Let me
And
see
so,
how far that is from us.
yeah, okay. So they're in Mineola, Texas, which is this small Bible Belt conservative town. And then all of a sudden, everyone in town is talking about a swingers club just popped up in the middle of the town.
It's
And
east of Dallas.
it's east of Dallas.
Yeah.
So she was saying, they moved here and the town seemed really nice and, homey. And they're interviewing all these people, how amazing Mineola is, this small town. Everybody knows everybody, loves everybody. And then she was like, we were surprised that they had this swingers club just in town and blah, blah, blah. And I'm
But
like,
let me ask you something real quick. Did the Swingers Club? Never mind. Tell the story, then I ask you.
okay, no, ask me. I don't know.
Did it actually exist?
Yeah, they interview people from the swingers club, remember?
Oh, okay, okay,
The
okay. I
owners.
didn't know. At the end, I was like, wait, did okay, all right, go ahead.
Okay. So she was a foster mom. So when they got to Texas, she was like, her and her husband, they had, retired. They bought this nice house on the nice side of town. There was a pond. It was a lovely home. And she says that her son was like, Mom, you've helped so many children. Why don't you just take a few children here and just help them out? So she became a foster mom again, and she received three kids.
Mhm.
They were siblings. Their parents were on drugs and there was some neglect in the home. So they were taken out of the home and they were sent to live with her. And those were her foster kids. And everything was okay. And the kids were like, oh, this big house and blah, blah, blah. She says that was it the oldest daughter or the youngest? I think it was the oldest one. She said she walked in and there was like a pole on the bed, and the one of the daughters was like dancing on the pole, like in a sexual type of manner. So, but she said some of the kids were kind of difficult and whatnot, but she still was trying to do her best. So she decided that she needs more space. She wanted to create this space for foster kids, right? For some reason, she decides to contact her realtor to look at the space, which was the swingers club, because it had this land and but I'm sorry, I'm gonna start laughing already because it's just so crazy. So she takes the kids with her to go.
That's just okay.
She takes the kids with her to this abandoned building that used to be an adult swingers club. And she says when they walk in, and she tells the son and the daughter to stay by the door, and she's walking in, and then one of the daughters says, "Oh, I recognize I've been here before," and saying that there was going to be some kind of wallpaper in the other room,
Yeah, I seen the flowers on the wall in that room.
wall and this and that. And then there was a ball out in the grass outside, and the son said that that was his ball. So they actually did interviews with the actual owners of the swingers club. It actually did exist, technically. So okay, but we'll go back. Okay,
Wait,
so
side note, when this started, my mind started going because when I went home to Louisiana this weekend, on the news in maybe Jennings, I don't know, it was one of the small towns that was a little further away from us. They're opening a swingers club and the public are getting outraged.
in Jennings,
I don't know if it's Jennings, but it's a town like that, somewhere that's like nearby but not that close by, in a small town, and they were all like, these are not the kind of people we are. And then they were talking about like all the rules that the swinger that the sex club was gonna have rules. You had to be invited, and it's not gonna be open to just anybody, and nobody can just go on the property without being invited. I was like, oh girl, what's going on over there? So that
wow.
brought that I had just saw that on the news at home. So when this
And then
started,
you
I was
watch
like,
this. Small town life does this thing. It definitely does. So
okay, continue on.
okay, so I'm trying to remember. Was it 3 kids or 4?
No, it was three. The other one wasn't her foster.
Right. Okay. So oops. So after this,
Hey
hi
Tracy.
Tracy. So after, the mom was like, "Oh my gosh, my kids. Oh my gosh, they were in here."
Oh, did we give a trigger warning for this?
No, we didn't.
Because it's intense at the beginning.
It
So
is.
it a trigger warning for essay, child essay, all the things in that nature.
Yeah.
So if that bothers you, don't watch this at all.
Yeah. So the it turns out that the children said that their parents and their grandparents and some of their parents' friends would put them through a sex kindergarten in a trailer outside of Tyler, Texas, which is not far close to Mineola, where one of their friends lived. Here in the county, it was Tuesdays at the Cactus. May still be. And then after they would do the what is the sex kindergarten, they would be on stage at the swingers club in Mineola, where they were given silly pills and forced to dance. And I want to be uh,
Just a
and,
bunch of nasty stuff
and sexually interact with each other.
with each other and adults.
Yeah. So
So basically they made it like, oh, they called it a kindergarten, but basically they were teaching kids to be,
they were grooming
they
children.
were grooming children.
So they made these allegations. Shelby, Hunter, Carly,
Where you going with my slipper?
and they lived with their foster mother Margie and her husband. I want to say John, and
I think it was John.
they lived in Mineola, and they made these allegations, right? So Margie went to the police in Mineola and told them, but they didn't like really take her serious, or like they said they went out there and they asked questions, but then nothing was done. And it was just like, and it when you're watching it, you're like, oh my god, I can't believe these police didn't do anything like at all about these children possibly being groomed and sexually assaulted. So somehow it got to,
Hey, Katie.
I'm sorry, I have this weird taste.
Katie, right? We just gave our trigger warning for essay and child essay. So if that bothers you, jump off.
Somehow it got to, was she a DA in Tyler?
What is going on?
I'm
He's
sorry.
on his game.
My son is playing this game. If you have a teenage or a young adult
Gamer.
gamer, you know what I live with. Sometimes I get waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, like,
I
oh no. So
told Cameron she had to either close the door or get off her game.
his door is closed.
Oh wow.
But the world ends when they lose or get shot or something. So okay. Yeah, she was an assistant. So the police in Mineola, they said there was a lack of evidence. It sounds unreal. You should still watch it, even though we're talking about it. There was a
Watch it.
lack of evidence, so Margie ended up taking it to Tyler. It's in the next county, and she found she was an assistant DA, and she was like, "This is insane. I can't believe that uh, Mineola, and law enforcement didn't do anything regarding this." And so somehow, for some weird reason, she brought in a Texas Ranger named Philip Kemp. And it's weird because that's not what Texas Rangers do. But whatever. While I'm watching, I'm like, okay, at least she's trying to help. Thanks for the trigger warning. I totally understand my son is the same way. Okay, she gets me. Like, this, he woke up Kobe, and Kobe just got up and left and went in my room. She's like, I'm not dealing with this today. So then the next few scenes, I guess, are kind of weird because Margie and Ranger Camp, they basically are interviewing the children.
Yeah.
At this point, because the children has also talked about like their grandparents, they actually bring in their aunt, who is
Who is
also
the same age as
in
them?
the same age group as them, who the
But you know
grandparents'
what?
daughter.
I guess I was kind of watching and doing other things. I didn't realize that that was Margie in that interrogation,
Yes,
questioning room until the end when they started talking about it. And that's when I was like, wait, hold up, what? I
yes,
understand
yes.
that she would be in the room with the kids because
No,
she's the guardian.
no, she should be on the outside watching while a
But I'm
trained,
saying to me it should be an observing thing.
right, and a
But she
trained
was
professional.
like one of the questioners. She was questioning the kids.
Yes, sometimes the ranger wouldn't say anything and let her talk to the children. And so it does seem like she was kind of leading them, but we're watching it. So they basically acted as a team. They interviewing the children about what happened. Ranger Kemp had no training in how to interview children in sexual assault cases. So that's why it was just like weird. So, and at times he even turned the interview over to Margie. He was like, I'm just going to sit here and you tell Margie what happened and let her ask the questions. And she was like, okay, tell me what happened. What? Okay. And like, it
And
was just,
she questioned their aunt, and she
and
had
she
no
no
affiliation with
affiliation with
this
the
little girl. The little girl was like 8. She had nothing to do with this little girl. She was not a guardian. Had nothing to do with the little girl, and they let her question the little girl. To me,
uh
weird. But anyway, we'll come
sorry.
back to that.
Kobe just jumped out of the bed and she slid out of my room like across the floor, and I was just making sure she was okay.
Oh,
Both of my children are going crazy today. So, like, experts do say that this was very inappropriate because Margie was the person who came forward with the um with this, so letting her be a part of questioning was inappropriate. So, and the ranger also asked the kid mostly yes or no questions, and he kept asking the same questions over and over again because he didn't know how to interview children. So at first, the children kind of denied stuff. They were like, no, no, like that anything had been happened. But eventually they began telling him things because they kept asking him the same questions over and over again and expecting, you know how children are. They'll try to, you know,
Don't
so
get ahead of yourself. Don't get ahead of
you're right,
yourself.
you're right. So they bring in, they're arresting and charging all these people because from what these children are saying, it was the parents, the grandparents, and the guy who lived in Tyler, who lived in the trailer where the sex kindergarten was, and then there was another friend.
The big red. That's
Yeah,
not his name.
Red something, but he
Something
went,
red. So basically, the three kids said that
and
their
then the boy,
mom. Wait, yeah, but the three kids said that their mom and her husband, who is not, uh, he's not their dad, but her mom and her husband, their mom and her husband is are the ones who made them do this, along with their grandmother. And was it her husband as well?
yeah, and her
Yeah,
husband, who was
the
actually her,
grandmother and the husband. Now the grandmother has a child that is
with
the
her
same
husband.
age as her grandchildren. So it's four kids, but one of them is the aunt and three of them are siblings. What's wrong? Oh, she muted herself. So yeah. So they all said that their mom, their stepdad, their grandma, and their grandpa made them do these things, all these things at the kindergarten.
And then at the swingers club.
Yeah. So then basically they brought in one by one, they started bringing all these people in, and they all got convicted and sentenced and went to jail.
Yeah, basically, they did. And then,
And
except, well, one of the,
the red man
you
hadn't
have to
gone yet.
understand, the thing to understand though is that Margie is living, is well off and on a, on the right, from the right side of the tracks, you know, as a foster mom. And then the parents, the mom, the boyfriend, the grandparents, the friends, they're all from the wrong side of the tracks. These are
Yeah, they're
poor,
like drug addicts.
and these are
That's
poor
why they lost their
people.
kids.
Yeah, things
But
like
the
that.
aunt, who's a kid, she was still in custody of her parents.
Yes, she
She
was.
was not. They had not lost her custody of her.
So one of the friends, now I'm starting to think there might have been three friends.
I remember. I remember the
Dennis,
red man,
Dennis Pittman. I remember him because
Dennis Pittman.
his mom used her like 401k or something to get him a really good lawyer, a very smart lawyer. And he like, there had already been one, two, three, four. There had already been three trials. This was the fourth trial. And this lawyer did his work. He found that Margie and her husband had been decertified as foster parents in California before coming to Texas. So, saying that they had gamed the foster system for like years and had like all, they had been paid over $100,000 for their foster kids and a whole bunch of things. And then, but still, you know, the trial went on and stuff. The jury listened to the kids, you know, saying what happened to them, blah blah blah, and he was convicted as well.
The
But he never stopped.
but the aunt who was a kid, she was it his trial that she testified and then started changing her story?
Mm-hmm. She changed
So
her
the
story.
aunt was now in middle school, and she was sick of the situation. So when
Mm-hmm.
they put her on the stand, she changed her story. She was like, that didn't happen. And so they put her as
Hostile witness, I
a
think.
hostile witness, because she wasn't going along with the story. She changed her story. She said, God told her she needs to tell the truth. So she got on the stand and said that didn't happen.
She said it didn't happen, and
But he
like
still got convicted.
they asked her and everything why, and she said that she was a little kid and there were grown-ups repeatedly asking her the same question over and over and over again, essentially telling her that something bad happened to her, so she came to believe it. And like they fed her the details of the sex kindergarten and the swingers club that Marjorie had already told the police and the ranger, and so she just was like, she went,
But also, mind you, after she wouldn't say anything in the questioning, they put her with her niece, who was the same age as her, and made the niece question her.
like, don't you remember what happened to us and stuff like that.
And
Yeah.
so she kept saying like no, like no, and she's like, "Did you tell them everything?" And she was like, "Almost." Like, like a kid would say, probably thinking of something that don't have nothing to do with nothing of what she didn't tell them. But yeah,
in the,
so
in the midst of this, one of Margie and John's foster children from California comes forward after hearing all of this going on and says that John molested her.
yeah, he would kiss on her and touch on her.
And Margie
Oh, and
knew.
then what they did to her and her husband. So as the docu series is going on, Margie is not looking as sweet as she was. But mind you, she was in the documentary, so she willingly was interviewed and speaking in the documentary, which I think she dumb for that, but whatever. She delusional. But so the girl came out and said John, the husband, he didn't want to be in the documentary, was molesting her, whatever. So they arrested him,
There
and
wasn't enough
there
evidence.
wasn't enough evidence for anything, so they ended up dropping it. She goes on with her life. She marries this guy. Well, Margie decides to what did she tell the cops that he was a part of the club?
A part of the club, they had
Because
the
the kids
kids
said they saw a man with tattoos, and he
tattooed
had tattoos.
on his
And then
arm.
the kid said there was a dragon on the back. And then when the cops brought him in, he didn't have a dragon tattoo on his back. So that's when they were like, okay, you're
But they
not
had
whoever.
they had brought him in and tried to
Oh
arrest
yeah, they
him.
arrested him and everything. So in retaliation of her accusing the husband, they tried to get her husband in jail for being a part of the kids sex ring thing. Oh Lord,
Yeah,
this is gonna be demonetized.
it is. And then so here you go. Okay. And then so that's all happening. They ended up having to drop the charges against John because again, there was no evidence. John is Margie's husband, the foster dad. So but then, things are going on and everything, and the kids are like, after Gabby, that was the aunt, the other Carly, I think, is it Carly?
It sounds familiar. That sounds right.
Carly and the son, Hunter, they they came out and said nothing happened. The oldest daughter has not. She wasn't in the older daughter was not in the document, the
Hmm.
docu series.
Well, they
But
started remembering that none of that stuff
that
happened.
nothing happened. And like they interviewed him and they were like, what happened? Because you testified against your mom. And he's like, he had told them from the beginning that nothing happened, but he says that Margie just wore him down. And
Margie
so
basically told them, would tell them like, you need to do what just in general, she would tell them that they need to be doing what she say, listening to what she said, because they don't have no other choices in life. If they don't do what she says and she gives them up, then they go back into the foster system.
And then he said that she would bring him and his sister into her room at night and like drill, like keep them up late and drill things into their head about the sex kindergarten, about the swingers club, and all this stuff. And he's like, what she says happened at the swingers club didn't happen. No one recognized anything. They had never been there before. And he said he just pointed to a ball out in the yard, and Margie took it as like, oh my God, it's his ball. He's been here, and create this whole narrative around the swingers
Yeah.
club.
So basically, none of that happened. All
None of
these
it.
people are in jail for life and all these long sentences. None of it
Well,
happened.
the mom, they got out. Everyone except one person got out. He ended up dying during COVID, I think.
Yeah. Well, one had did a plea bargain to start off with, and then the DA went back and gave them all plea bargains and got them out after 4 years in prison. And it was like they never wanted to admit that none of this happened. But why would you let out people who you thought did all these things if you didn't believe that it all was lies? But you know, a lot of times they don't like to admit that they're wrong. It's empty.
Carly
Well,
also said that she lied. She just, she had been young and impressionable, and she was like, she was, if something had happened, she would remember it. At this point, though, Margie and John packed up their stuff.
and
Actually,
got the hell out of Dodge.
some of their furniture and stuff is still at the house. They ran out of Mineola, Texas, and they went back to California. They're living it up with their family, their grandkids, and
Yeah.
everything. After they put these kids through all this, they created all this drama,
So they ruined a whole lot of people's lives.
whole lives. And then so they actually did an interview. They actually had the mom on there, and she was like, she doesn't expect her kids to forgive her. She can't forgive herself, because if she wasn't on drugs, none of that wouldn't have happened.
But
They
dang.
would have taken her kids, and Margie couldn't have been able to manipulate her children. But yeah, they even like, it was just in, you have to watch it to get the full impact of what this lady did. And it turns out that, I'm sorry, turns out that Margie knew how to work the system, right? If the kids are more difficult, let's say, because of things, traumatized things that have happened in their life, you get more
But
money for the
because
foster
they need therapy and things like
care
that.
and
So
things like that.
you get more money. Well, she tries to make it like, oh, they're just reimbursing for the therapy. Well, it don't matter how the money getting in your pocket. You getting the money.
Hmm.
And then so Gabby, which is the kid that was the aunt, the kid of the grandparents, when the grandparents got out of jail and got plea bargains, they weren't allowed, they had to relinquish their rights to her, and they weren't allowed to see her until she's 18.
Hmm.
But when she was in foster care, she ran away and she went look for her dad. She didn't know what to do. She went look for her dad, and he was like, I did not care. I was not turning her around, and he took her in, and they built a relationship. Her mom was like, I can either be your best friend, or I can go back into being a mom for you. And she was like, I want you to be my mom. So she's rebuilding with her parents, which is good. Did you hear the poetry he wrote in prison?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, you a little poet, man.
But one of the, and so like, they've gotten back. I don't think Shelby has. I feel like Shelby might have been really, she was the oldest daughter. I think she might have been really traumatized by what happened, and may have, in her mind, she thinks that
It
this,
might have had to be true for her to go on,
yeah,
thinking
for
that she
her to
wouldn't do that.
continue living on her life and know that she sent her mom, her grandparents, and everything to prison. She wasn't on the documentary. She hasn't said anything. But the rest of them have, kind of gotten back with their family, and they're trying to work through all of this trauma and everything. But the I'm sorry, but like, the thing about it to me is that they were actually able to get Margie on camera for this
She that
documentary.
she has to be a narcissist Because why would you go? You got away with it. Why would you go and further incriminate yourself?
It's like she's a major character, right? And she speaks emotionally about everything, and
No
she's
tears
able.
coming out. She cries with no tears.
She did cry at will, and she was wiping away tears at the when it first started. I'm like, oh my god, what has this woman been
I
through?
know she had me in the mix. I was like,
She's looking at the picture of the kids. It's dirty dishes in there. What you looking for? What you found? Okay. So yeah, she showed up on camera after everything because she's like living in her truth, and she just like
she gone with it. After you ruin, and when I text Celine after watching it today, at first I texted and I was like, what's going on? But I had only got to like, I only gotten through the first episode. And after I finished watching, I was like, I'm so happy that this didn't actually happen to the kids. But the psychological trauma, it got to be almost just as bad.
mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
And she manipulated everyone. I mean, like there
Everyone.
was reporters, like local TV people, like on her side that came and interviewed her, but then like things started not making sense. They did a little bit of investigating, and Margie got, I think, about 100, between
$109,000.
$1,000 almost for being a foster mom to those kids.
And it only showed like 2 years worth.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's like a salary. That was crazy.
She just was very good manipulator.
She was. And then, I mean, you're manipulating kids. So, I don't know. That's just crazy. It's crazy that you would ruin somebody's life for a paycheck. Like,
She ruined all of those people's lives.
and the kids.
And
Because the
like,
kids could have reconciled with their parents if their parents got clean. They could have reconciled with their parents. That's always the end goal with fostering is reconciliation. You made it to where they could not reconcile with their parents. You put all their parents in jail. You made them believe that all this stuff had happened.
and she was never charged or anything. She's just sitting in California chilling
No,
her life.
talking about I live on a beautiful property with all of my grandchildren.
Grandchildren,
The
Margie.
only thing I regret is leaving my dream house. Girl,
Mhm.
what?
That's what she regrets.
I was like, oh no.
It's
She
crazy.
better
If you've
be.
seen it, I definitely just recommend you see it yourself so you can get the full
Yeah, you
effect.
got to get the whole story. You got to set Saint. Stop it, man. He looking at me like, why? And she feels nothing, and they haven't found anything to charge her with yet. I know. I'm hoping that that brings some publicity to the case, and that somebody feels like they need to go after her because that is ridiculous. If not, I mean, fraud at the least. You know, the government don't like to be defrauded, frauded. I don't know how you would word that. Out of their money.
Yeah,
That was crazy.
it was crazy. But I watched it
Abuse.
because I texted you about it. I was like, "Oh my god, I'm watching this. Have you seen?" It? And you was like, "No, it doesn't sound familiar." And
That's
I'm
not what I was expecting at all.
me either. And
I
I think
guess
that's why I didn't watch it. But then it just wasn't what I thought it
I
was
thought
gonna
it was
be.
gonna be like a trafficking story. That's not what I expected at all.
Because I had watched on Netflix How to Create a Drug Scandal like a few years ago, and I thought that this was kind of because they talk in like the description and talk about a swingers club. So I was like, okay, I don't know if I really want to watch this, but I was just like, it's here. They keep saying recommended for you, recommended for you. Let me try it, and I was sitting there like this,
Girl, clutching them pearls.
literally.
And then also the boy has said that how she would beat on them and stuff.
Yeah, she did.
And she was like, "Oh no, no." He said she would beat on the sister and him, and she was like, "Oh no, I never whipped her. I might have popped him in the mouth, but I never whipped her." I'm like, "Girl." Oh, and then she tried the other one who they tried to put the husband in jail, the one with the tattoos.
Mhm.
She tried to make that girl seem crazy by saying she was killing cats.
Yeah, she was just all over the place. And I do think that there was some other foster kids of theirs that came forward with some of the same accusations, but they didn't like really focus on it.
They need to do a civil suit. They need to, all the foster kids need to get together and do a civil suit. I'm sure there will be some lawyers ready to help them with that one.
That was a crazy one. Okay, what do we have next?
Okay, and I don't have much time because I have to go soon. I have a babysitting job to get to.
Because we were supposed to start at 6, not 7.
Well, I didn't know. Are we moving back to 6?
I feel like 6 is good. We had just moved to
Now
7
that
at
it's getting dark all early, I feel like it's late, late, late at night. So I
I
guess
think so
6 is
late.
good. Okay, I'll set the next one up for 6. I like this new format though.
Me too. The comments are big and nice, and
Yeah, and I don't have to pay for it.
how do y'all feel about this format like this with the
Yeah,
comments?
let us know. Do y'all rather the way it used to be on StreamYard or on here? We're on Restream. Is there a logo? Do they show? Oh, there is a Restream logo. It's not as obnoxious as StreamYard though.
Yeah, I see it in the corner. But yeah, if you
We
haven't watched it, give it a try. And yeah, it's already 9 there. So yeah, we'll
Yeah,
definitely
we'll
move.
start at 6 next week. We'll
Yeah.
move it up.
Okay. Do you
Something
want to
was
get
going
into?
on last week,
You have to go
huh?
pick up Joseph from work,
Oh yeah, that's what
but
might
then you ended up not having to or something.
that's what might mess me up on Wednesdays. Until he gets his car fixed. We'll aim for 6. We'll aim for 6. Um, the format is nice. Who do we have? Who we had left on the list? Because what if we move it to next week? Because
We
I
had
gotta pack the kids up.
Nightstalker and I am Vanessa Gee, in which we already moved to next week.
Why don't we move them both to next week? Add one more.
Okay.
Do we have any suggestions or did you have any ideas?
We had some suggestions of
Shelby said the format is nice. I don't know if anybody else commented. Let's see.
for like the Murdoch murders last week.
Oh yeah, that is like that's a lot.
Well, yeah, it's a lot. It's very in detail, but that's why I was like wondering if you wanted to do Night Stalker because it's kind of a lot as well. I mean, like that
It's
was
a
a lot.
lot too. Let's kick Nightstalker out because you know what? I like doing the ones that are not as
They've
well.
already watched it though as their homework.
Oh, okay. We'll do it. We'll do it. We'll do it. I'll
Some of
rewatch
them
it too.
did.
Hey,
Hey, Gina.
Gina.
Yes, very creepy dude. And like people were obsessed with him. Like women, like, oh my gosh, he's
They thought he
so
was so beautiful, but did y'all see his
yes.
teeth?
He was not, he was very creepy.
His teeth were all rotten from cocaine and bad hygiene. And then a dentist fixed them for him while he was in jail. Yeah, people were obsessed with him.
People were obsessed with him. Oh my gosh, I forgot that I have to.
With his teeth fixed, he was kind of cute.
I'm wondering if they'll do like a TV show on him or not one day.
Gina told Sheila, "Don't be a big baby about the time." Sheila, what time do you go to bed at night? I feel like I feel like you could be here.
Oh, they did have a movie with
Yeah, there was a movie.
Lou Diamond Phillips as him playing him. I might watch it.
Okay.
That
Next week, Night Stalker,
he might have been
Vanessa.
close.
Huh?
Yeah, I
I
said
don't.
close.
I never knew Cocaine to Ratchet T, but I think they were. I think the thing was that he was so strung out that he just had bad hygiene. And then they say he ate candy and coke when he was a kid. I don't know. All kids eat candy and drink soda. They don't. Their teeth don't look like that. Maybe bad genes, genetics. I was up before 6 this morning. Oh, with the time change or just because? Cause
The time change is killing me, killing me. I was
I'm
so
trying.
tired last night.
I need to go into do all the things I want to do mode, cause when seasonal depression kicks in, I'm y'all not gonna see me very often. You gonna have
And
to drag me here on Wednesdays.
waking up an hour before my alarm goes off every morning because that's what time I usually wake up. I am not doing well.
Mm-mm. I don't really care about waking up early. Is the evenings whenever it's like super dark and I'm like feeling like it's time to go to sleep and it's like 6 o'clock.
That too, but like yesterday, was that yesterday or today? It might have been today. I don't know. It was either yesterday or today. I don't start work until 8. And I came in and Carnell was still playing his game. And I was like, Carnell, I need the wire so I can hardwire for work. He takes the wire at night so he can hardwire for his game. But I'm like, I need a hardwire for work. And I look at the clock and it's like 7:20. I'm trying to clock in
Mm-mm.
at 7:20 and it's
Ma'am,
why am I here? I'm going back in my bed.
ma'am. If I work from home and didn't have to be on camera, I'd wake up 5 minutes before. I'd be like, I'll get dressed on lunch break.
Sometimes we have to be on camera for our huddles at 8 a.m.
Oh no, baby. Mm-mm.
Kobe,
Yeah,
stop.
seasonal depression in Texas. I thought it was sunny there all the time. No. The winters are like here in Austin at least, the winters they get this year, winter is taking forever to come. But they get I don't like the cold at all. At all. But it snows probably once a year. That's like enough to bring me all the way down.
Can you hear her?
What's she doing?
Listen. Oh, well, not that. Do you hear her
Who's she
growling?
growling at? She looking out the window?
Mm-hmm.
Tell her stop before she sets off Saint. Cause he started because of a dog on TV earlier.
I'm not. That's my guard dog.
Mm-mm.
You don't hear my husky mix?
Yeah, that pit bull going. Don't you just need your face looking happy and you can wear jammies?
Yeah,
And
most
you
of the
get like an hour or two less of light than we do up here in Seattle area. Really? Well, yeah,
time.
y'all are.
Shelby, do you like are you from the area and do you like it?
They
Sorry,
get a
I'm
lot of rain.
I'm interested in the Pacific Northwest lately. So I'm
Mm-mm. It seems cold and wet up there. I'd like to just visit Portland. That's all.
I'm super interested in it.
Don't go there. We going to Mexico. Don't go there.
If not Mexico, Pacific, they're pretty,
Let that guard dog make as much noise
right.
as
She's
possible.
doing
She's
her
doing her
job.
job. No, and then something gonna come in and she could be under the bed.
Yeah.
Do you have one? Yeah, I do, Sheila. I got one last year and it worked. It worked a bit. I gotta find it actually. Where is that light? You put him in his room, babe. Oh,
You
you
left it
ate?
there. I just
Okay.
want to. I just it just always intrigues me. It would be like it's one of like my bucket listings, and I probably would be like, you know what, I'm gonna just stay.
Yeah, I do want to shop in Portland. You know, even though they put a Portland leather goods in Austin.
It's temporary. It doesn't really rain all that much. It's just that it's gray cloudy half of the year. I can deal with that. It's not 110 degrees
I'd rather
half the year.
110 than 20.
She didn't say it was 20.
Okay, what's the temperature right now? Like right at this second, Shelby. It's pretty and green all year round. Now I like pretty and green, but what's the temperature? Because if we go below 50, I'm out.
It go below 50 here.
Why you think I'm depressed?
Told
Ideally
me.
75, 73 to 78, and I'm happy. You would
Sorry.
think Kobe is vicious. She got a nice bark.
Cornell. She's really freaked out by whatever is by my window.
She say she checking for the temperature. Yo, I'm going house sit and babysit for the weekend. I'm about to be sleeping in the bed like that by myself. Mommy, what? You gonna sleep in Miss Shawn bed? Yeah, I'm on live, booby. Right
I'm
now it's
only
46 degrees. See, I'm out. I'm out.
it's gonna what? I'm gonna do it. I'm, I'm about to get
Hey,
off.
nephew.
He said hello. But yeah, see, I could do 46 degrees.
I don't want to do 46 degrees. Let's see, what is it right now? It's 65 out here, and that's cold. And the low is 47. That means tonight is going to get 47. Tomorrow will be overnight
See,
low 44, sunny, and upper 10, 57. 57 is not warm enough. I'll come visit you in the summer if you go.
me?
Yeah, but you're trying to kill our dreams of living next door to each other if you're going out there.
We there's no dreams of us living next door because I'm either going there or I'm going to Mexico.
I told you I'm coming to Mexico. You're not leaving me. Are you taking your sewing machine? Yes, I am, Sheila. I got it packed in the truck already. And I'm bringing my cameras and all. I'm going to do some content over there while I'm there.
We need to discuss content for this channel too.
We will. I kind of like the format we do it now. If we do it without a like not live, where you do all the work and I just show up.
I don't mind even do like picking the topics and everything, but that means that you would have to do the editing.
I can do the editing. Editing is cool. I don't mind when you see we should have recorded all summer because that's the time when I have the time to sit down and do research.
But
It
see,
was
I don't
80
mind
and
because
sunny
like
here
sometimes
today. I
it's
could do
slow
that.
at work and I can do research like in between like calls and stuff. And like sometimes I'm just watching TV. Like you have young kids and stuff. I don't mind doing the research and everything. But then the editing, I'm just like,
I don't mind doing the editing.
even though nephew said that he would do the editing, but you know, you can't rely on nephew. It was 80 and sunny here today. Sheila, you know what? On actually, well, I have some I loved when I lived in Virginia Beach. It was so nice. The weather, it snowed, don't get me wrong. And but there was 4 seasons. I loved living in Virginia Beach. I
You can
loved
show
it.
my picture. You can show pictures of my tootsies in Q socks. You have my permission. I saw them in the group, Gina.
In spring,
In
it's
some
50 degrees. Gina, I used to, are you, so Gina's in Illinois?
yeah.
I used to live in Granite City, Illinois, like right across from Missouri.
I live in northeastern Nevada and it's 32 degrees. Oh no, but it gets cold at night in Nevada, right?
Some parts, yeah. and it's
Because it's like
super hot during
the
the day,
mountains are cold. I don't
and
like
it's
humidity. Humidity is all I know, but I don't like it either. My socks right now are pink and say I'm a sock whore.
dead.
Gina. Gina, we need to get you on one of these lives one day. On a Friday night live, have Gina as the guest. Oh my gosh. You would pull in all the views. All right,
I
I gotta go for real. What you saying? Say it
I was
though.
just gonna say I don't know if Nelly playing this game because all of a sudden he just yelled my toes,
He
but
just
not to
being.
himself, to someone else. Granite City has the best comedy club. I haven't lived there in years. I was in high school when I lived there. We lived on the army base that was out there for a little bit. But I made a lot of friends and I like the area and the school and stuff. That was right before I moved back home to Louisiana and went to high school with Crystal, and she don't remember.
She was only there for like a month.
Not true. I was there for like 2 years.
I knew of you for a month, so that's all I know.
Okay, I know you have to go and everything, but okay, before we go,
Oh, we got to get our lineup ready so when I set up the live, I could put it in the description. So, y'all, if you're watching this and you want to know what the homework is for next week, it will be in the description of the live. Last week, I set it up right when we got off. I will probably set it up by tomorrow. And in the description box, it'll show what we're talking about and where to watch it. But we're also telling y'all now. So,
so we're gonna pick up with the Night Stalker, and that's on Netflix.
you ever live
Um,
in Tennessee? No, she didn't.
no,
She probably did whenever all them years I didn't know who she was.
I haven't lived in Tennessee. I
Okay.
I, I haven't lived in
Huh?
Tennessee. Sorry. Okay,
Night
so
Stalker.
the one on Netflix. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to look for the name. It's called. What is it called?
Night Stalker.
Nightstalker, The Hunt for a Serial Killer. That's the one on Netflix.
Oh.
And then I Am Vanessa Guillen is also on Netflix. So we pushed those two from this week because we spent the other two were so detailed. We spent all the time talking about them. So and then Tindler Swindler.
Tindler Swindler. Let's talk Tindler Swindler. That's one that's not as deep as you know. Have
I
y'all seen the Tindler Swindler? That's kind of an old one, but not old, but it's been out a while. You lived in Fort Campbell, Kentucky?
no.
That's the army bases, I think she's naming.
No. I only lived in Granite City. It was the only army base I lived on.
Besides, oh, no, that was a naval base.
And yeah, we lived. Well, we didn't live on base. We just lived. The naval housing is not on base, so we lived in Navy housing in Virginia Beach.
Yeah, Gina, the Tinder Swindler. What is that on Netflix?
Netflix.
Tinder Swindler. I gotta rewatch that one. I gotta go watch all of these. I gotta rewatch Night Stalker, rewatch Tinder Swindler, and watch Vanessa.
And then I thought that we could. Do you think that's enough?
Yeah, because I don't think we could get more than three in,
Okay.
even if we have a little more time. Because it took us all this time for two.
Okay.
And Night Stalker is a lot.
It is a lot. So, and then Tindler Swindler. Tindler Swindler. I went to University of Austin, Peay State University, which is beside the Army base. Oh, sorry, I'm writing it down. You're gonna
Right
set up
on.
the videos and everything.
Yeah, I'll probably do it by tomorrow, or maybe tonight while I'm laying down in somebody else's house, wondering what to do. But it's probably gonna be late by the time I get there.
Just logged into Netflix. All of my recommendations are for murder mysteries now. LOL. Look, I'm telling y'all, they are.
Yeah, Gina, come back next week to discuss.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. You know, when I see a comment, I just read.
No, that's it. I didn't have no words. That was it.
I've been enjoying these lives, y'all. I hope y'all have been too, cause I look forward to it. I mean, granted, we talk about some heavy stuff sometimes, but I just like giving opinions. Let's talk about it. And there's a fly going like crazy in here. All right, I don't want to get off, but I gotta get off.
We know. All right, everyone. We'll see y'all next Wednesday.
Twin
Bye.
to talk about the Tinder swindler. All right, y'all have a good night. Bye.